Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here with yet another discussion for One Piece as we continue One Piece's 20th anniversary talks and specials and what have you. We are on, day 9, and today we're going to be talking about the Shichibukais. Shichibukais, also known as the Seven Warlords of the Sea. Now, the Seven Warlords of the Sea are a special group of pirates who are under the employ of the world government, and the world government has them employed in order to keep other pirates in line. Now, here's the special thing about the Warlords. To become a warlord, you have to have done something significant or have like a significantly high bounty. This is the case of pretty much all of the warlords except for one. And all of these pirates are free to do whatever they want, just as long as they pretty much have free reign of the sea, but they're doing it under the name of the world government. And the thing is, with the Seven Warlords of the Sea, pretty much the majority of them, except for one warlord, has the complete, pretty much doesn't really care about what the world government does or says, and they, at times, don't even listen to the world government. The only exception is Bartholomew Kuma, who, after having his entire body modified for the Pacifista project, his mind completely altered to make him completely subservient to the world government, he is now the only member of the Shichibukai, the warlords, that actually willingly listens and obeys the world government pretty much steadfastly, because he has no other choice. He's pretty much been modified that way. But all other warlords, including former warlords, they pretty much have no love for the government. Even one of them pretty much loves one specific pirate, and she almost puts her own status as a warlord in jeopardy because of how much she loves this guy. I'm, of course, speaking of Boa Hancock. Now, in terms of how to become a Shichibukai, like I said before, you need to do something significant or have an extremely high bounty, and pretty much all except for, I want to say, yeah, pretty much all of these pirates who are currently in the Warlords are pirates from the New World. And you have Draku Mihawk, you have Boa Hancock, you have Edward Weeble, who we're still learning about, even though we've seen how strong he is because he's systematically taking down the remainders of the Whitebeard pirates. You have Bartholomew Kuma, you have Buggy the Clown, we'll get to him later, 767, and I want to say it was Trafalgar Law, Bartholomew Kuma, Dracu, Boa, Buggy, Edward, Bartholomew. Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody very significant. It was Doflamingo, but now he's gone after his little stunt at Dressrosa. So we have Bartholomew Kuma, Dracu Mihawk, Boa Hancock, Edward Weevil, Buggy the Clown. So do we just have 5? Huh. Oh well. Well, so much for the 7 warlords. But this is a system that, the 7 warlord system is a system that is not liked by a lot of the Marines. Specifically Kizaru and Fujitora, because they just see it as they may be under the employ of the world government, but they are not. They are still pirates. They're nothing more than just pirates. So not everyone is appreciative of these 7 warlord systems. But the thing is, when it comes to becoming a warlord, like I said, and I keep avoiding it, you either have to do something extremely significant or have a very high bounty. The only person who's exception to this rule is Marshall D. Teach. Out of all the people who are in the 7 warlord system, who was in the system back then before the time skip, he was the only person who managed to become a warlord with absolutely nothing on his bounty. He had a 0 berry bounty, and he was able to become a warlord specifically because of one act. he defeated and turned over Porcus D. Ace to the world government, which then sparked the Marineford War, and that alone allowed him to become a warlord, with no bounty to speak of, which was unheard of at the time. And even when Lafitte, who crashed the Seven Warlords meeting beforehand, everyone else just thought it was ridiculous that Lafitte was telling them that, well, my captain, he has no bounty, but he would like to become a warlord. Everyone thought it was ridiculous. Yet, Blackbeard pulled it off, including numerous other things. We'll get to Blackbeard later. But when it comes to becoming a warlord, certain things come into factor. Boa Hancock, Dracula Mihawk, Bartholomew Kuma are among a few who are pretty much strong enough to hold their title. But Boa Hancock has had some shifty moments because her love for Monkey D. Luffy almost put her own position in jeopardy. But she's managed to keep her cool so far and made it so that no matter what she did, they still allowed her to do it because she is beautiful. But after all of that, Draco Mihawk and everybody else, they're in the position they are because they're strong enough. Edward Weevil's in his position because he's strong enough. Buggy the Clown is in his position because the people that work under him are strong enough. Buggy is not strong. We've seen how strong he is. I mean, even Emporia Vankov even once said that it's surprising that Buggy was a deckhand alongside Shanks on not Whitebeard, but Gold Roger's ship. Yet Buggy is not as strong as Shanks. He is in his warlord status purely because of all the prisoners that were with him, that escaped with him during the Impel Down breakout. And they all aided themselves with Buggy because Buggy is extremely lucky. He's had numerous times where they could have easily killed him, but something always happened that made him look like a god in the eyes of these prisoners. And these prisoners were from level 6. Level 6 is the deepest part of Impel Down, completely hidden from history. And he has members in his own crew of prisoners from level 6 of Impel Down. And because of this, the world government gave him the invitation to be a warlord purely on the strength of the people under him. Not because of Buggy's strength, but because of Buggy's extreme luck. Like, his luck is up there with Luffy's. Because there's also got to be a hurting thing. Like, you're only a warlord because of the people who are under you are strong and they're following you. It's got to be a hurting thing. I don't think anyone's told him, though. But that's just some of the ways that a person can become a warlord. Another way was when Trafalgar Law was once a warlord. He had his title rebuked from Fujitora on Greenbit and Dressrosa. He sent the hearts of, I want to say, 100 pirates or 1,000 pirates, maybe? I think it was 100 pirates. He sent the hearts of 100 pirates to Marine HQ, and then he was inducted into the warlords that way. There's some certain factors that got to play in for you to be a warlord, but at the same time, there's also some criteria you need to meet in order to remain one. So the first and foremost criteria for remaining a warlord is you cannot get beaten, or you can't be caught into something that's completely worldly illegal. Gecko Mordia, Crocodile, and Doflamingo were all guilty of all of these criterias, and that's what caused their position as warlords to be revoked. Gecko Mordia was beaten by Luffy, just flat out beaten by Luffy, and the world government started to see him as weak, and they sort of revoked his title after the Marineford War. But due to his performance during the Marineford War, Gecko Mordia was seemingly killed, but he's out in the New World someplace. But his title was revoked, and that left the spot open because Gecko Mordia was seen as too weak because he was beaten multiple times, not just by Luffy, but also by Jinbei. Jinbei tried to take Jinbei's shadow. Jinbei bodied him, like, easily, and then just moved on. So Gecko Mordia was ousted from the Seven Warlords because he was weak. Crocodile and Doflamingo both had similar ways that they did what they did. Crocodile wanted to rule over the kingdom of Alabasta by allowing the war that was happening there, that I believe he orchestrated, in order to reap the benefits of all the people dying in the war, and thus usurping the position of King Cobra and gaining the title of being king of Alabasta and ruling over it. Doflamingo had a similar one, but he pretty much succeeded. He took over the entire country of Dressrosa, because 10 years prior, I want to say prior to the series, he blackmailed the King Riku Dole the third or second, King Riku Dole the second or third. He blackmailed him and manipulated him into not only massacring a large number of people, but also a lot of his soldiers as well. And then Doflamingo and his own crew came in the eyes of the people of Dressrosa, looked like heroes. And then pretty much Doflamingo made the entire city of Dressrosa into his own personal playground, while secretly working alongside Kaido and alongside Caesar Clown in order to supply Kaido with artificial devil fruits for his artificial Zoan army that Kaido wanted to have. And this continued on for a little bit until the intervention of the Straw Hat Pirates and Trafalgar Law, and I want to say Kyros and the numerous other people on Dressrosa. Way off later into the series after the time skip, he was ousted as the king. He was ousted as the king of Dressrosa. He lost his title as Shichibukai, he lost his title as a warlord and was sentenced to impel down. And even despite one of Kaido's own men, one of his own commanders, one of the chief calamities, Jack the Drought, attempted to get Doflamingo back because of how vital he was to Kaido's plans, it never happened. So Jack is still somewhere at the bottom of the ocean, because I believe Jack is a fish man. That only explains why he's still alive in the ocean right now, but he can't move because he's a devil fruit user, and devil fruit users can't swim. So that's what happened to Doflamingo, Crocodile, and Gekomordia. Gekomordia lost because he was weak. Crocodile and Doflamingo lost their titles because they were into illegal. They pretty much were into illegal actions and activities that could potentially, that could have publicly known would have ousted them as Shichibukais in their own rights. But the thing is, with the 7 warlords, some have. It's kind of tricky to put into words, but the 7 warlords in their own rights, they were already well-known pirates before they became warlords. Like Bartholomew Kuma, before he became a warlord, was known as the Tyrant. Boa Hancock still is known as the Snake Empress. Draku, Hawkeye's Mihawk, they were all legendary pirates from the New World, but they all decided to work alongside the world government out of who knows what reasons they decided to join the government. Maybe it was amnesty and immunity to politics, or in Jinbei's case, oh wait, I forgot Jinbei. Jinbei was also a warlord as well, and I can't remember the reason why he joined the Shichibukai, but love y'all too, y'all have fun. That was my family. But Jinbei joined the Shichibukai, the 7 warlords. I can't decide whether I want to call it Shichibukai or warlords. I keep alternating between the two. I apologize. But Jinbei joined, and I guess he did it to protect his fisherman kind in Fishman Island. I probably have to look back at that. But due to him not wanting to fight Whitebeard during the Marineford War, he was not only removed from the 7 warlords, but he was also imprisoned and impelled down due to him saying, no, I'm not fighting Whitebeard because this dude has saved my life and the lives of my people. World government didn't like it, removed him from the warlords, and imprisoned him. And that's why Jinbei was in the same cell with Ace, during which Luffy went down to rescue them. Well, rescue Ace, he didn't know about Jinbei at the time. But That's what happened with Jinbei, and then Trafalgar Law lost his position as Shichibukai because it got found out that he was working alongside the Straw Hats, even though Law tried to cover it up and say that no, Caesar's working alongside me, the Straw Hats are just my accomplices. We are not in an alliance together. But Fujitora revoked his title as a warlord, so Trafalgar Law is no longer a warlord in the system. So there's still some spots open that they can have other people in. And I'm just wondering who else is going to fill that spot, because you can't be 7 warlords if you only got 5 people. Because they've already lost so many people already, and this is really hurting the world government as a whole, because the world government uses pretty much uses the warlords as a deterrent for pirates, because if the world government tells the warlords to do something towards these certain pirates, if the warlords want to do it, then they can just go after these certain number of pirates. And of course, one little tidbit for the warlords is whatever their proceeds are, they have to give a portion of that to the world government, because, you know, warlord rent, something like that. I don't know. But for them to lose so many warlords from their positions in such a short amount of time, it's got to be hurting to the world government, because they literally relied on all of the warlords to keep the other pirates in line. And now with so many of their warlords gone, it's getting kind of hard for the world government to have a grip on the sea as they once did. Especially now with the new age of piracy going on, there's so many factors that it's going to happen. I believe the world government is not ready for that. The warlords are not going to be enough to keep the world government's pirate side of their operations in check. And pretty much that's all I can say about the Shichibukai system. I mean, I know this is just me paraphrasing, because I like this sort of thing. Hope y'all enjoyed yourselves, and I can't wait to see you in the next video tomorrow as we continue to talk about One Piece. Who are we going to talk about? You'll just have to find out. So as always, later peoples!